The moderator for this evening's event is Donald Miller, who you probably all know from his quippy articles in the Telegraph. Quippy, Q-U-I-P-P-I-E, or Q-U-I-P-P-Y, as the case may be. Don is the former publisher of the Telegraph. He currently serves as executive director of Corridor 67. Please give a round of applause to Don Miller.
Welcome to the Village of Godfrey Candidates Forum. It is an amazing time in American politics. We're all aware that the country recently elected its first African-American president. But also, if you didn't notice, Louisiana elected our country's first Vietnamese-American congressman. And here in Illinois, Ray LaHood was our nation's only Arab-American congressman until he was appointed Secretary of Transportation by the President. None of the candidates claim to be African-American, Vietnamese, or Arab-American, but each of the candidates is unique in his or her own way. And they are here tonight to explain to you, the voters of Godfrey, just what their unique qualities are. We are going to start with the candidates that are unopposed, and then move to the candidates for the trustee positions, and finally to the two candidates for mayor. There are time limits for the speakers. There are cards available should you desire to ask questions of the candidates. The cards are in the back. Please indicate clearly your question and for whom it is intended. Our first speaker this evening is the sole candidate for assessor, Monica Starr Jones.
My name is Monica Starr Gerald, and I am the Godfrey Township Assessor. Questions presented to the other candidates, such as mayor or trustee, are not applicable to the office of the assessor, which has no responsibility or authority regarding the outcome of these questions. The assessor's duties are assigned by state statutes. The assessor's office is a non-political office. A political platform is not needed to fulfill my duties or responsibilities. I've been working in the assessor's office for 16 years, 5 of those as chief deputy assessor under the former assessor Eldon Williams, 11 of those years as assessor. I feel that I'm a qualified and experienced assessor that goes the extra mile in providing service to the people of Godfrey. Being the Godfrey assessor to me means more than just putting a value on homes and property. It means providing a friendly and professional office that welcomes all residents who have concerns and questions about their assessments. I'm here to listen to their concerns and make sure they are assessed for only their fair share of the tax burden that we all must bear. My goals are to continue to serve the residents of Godfrey in a courteous and professional manner with information on their assessments and explaining how and why assessments change. To make sure that all residents are assessed fairly and accurately, and if changes need to be made, to be their advocate to the County Board of Review, and to continue to educate the residents of Godfrey as to money-saving tax programs that are available to them. On the table by the entrance, I've prepared handouts listing the current deductions that are available to the residents of Godfrey for their property taxes. Also listed are 3 new deductions: returning veterans, disabled veterans, and disabled persons. The other handout I've provided lists past tax rates and multipliers and includes a tax chart that shows just exactly where your tax dollar goes. Thank you for your time, and please vote for Monica Starr Geralds for assessor.
Our second speaker tonight is the sole candidate for village clerk, Pam Whistler. Pam?
Good evening. I'm Pam Whistler, and it's been my pleasure for the last 24 years to serve as your Godfrey clerk. My husband David and I have been residents of the community of Godfrey for 33 years. The position of clerk has allowed me to serve my community by providing services to the residents of Godfrey. A few of those duties of the village clerk are the keeper of records, secretary to the board of trustees, also secretary to several village committees. The clerk is the liaison between the board of trustees and the residents. My door is always open to my residents and my board. With the support of the Board of Trustees, my office has increased services for the residents, such as marriage license, hunting and fishing license, establishing quarterly Secretary of State driver's facilities, a yearly flu shot clinic, and working with the Madison County Clerk Mark Van Ida, we have established early voting polls at the Village Hall. I believe the more services we can offer at Village Hall allows you, the resident, to obtain these services with your busy schedules without leaving Godfrey. I thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself, and I would like to ask you to vote for Pam Whistler so that I can continue to be your Godfrey Village Clerk. On a final note, I would just like each of you to note that early voting does open on Monday, March 16th, runs through April 2nd. There are 2 locations in our area which you can vote. One will be at the Godfrey Village Clerk's office at 6810 Godfrey Road. The hours will be Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. At the City of Alton at 101 East 3rd Street on the corner of 3rd Street and Albee. Early voting will be from Monday through Friday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Thank you.
We have 4 candidates for trustee in Godfrey, and there are 3 open positions. The first speaker tonight will be incumbent Mark. Mark?
Hello, everyone. I've got a pretty good voice here. I'm an auctioneer, too, so with a crowd like this, I can make a lot of money. I'm a Village of Godfrey trustee. I've been a trustee for 10 years. I'm very proud to be a trustee, and I try to do my very best job all the time. I'm married. My wife Audrey is here in the audience. We've been married 20 years in last October. I've lived in Godfrey for 25 years. I work for Graybar Electric. It's kind of an interesting company. It's an employee-owned firm. $5 billion company, entirely employee-owned. And in these times, it's really interesting because we're employee-owned and we don't please stockholders except ourselves. As soon as times got a little tough here, we stopped all our raises and everything and tried to, hold on to our money and get through the rough times. And that's what a person has to do when times are tough. And really, I've worked there 21 years. That has kind of shaped me to an extent. I have a degree in organizational leadership from Greenville College, and I went to night school for that. Prior to working at Graybar, 2 times I was laid off due to plant closings. A.O. Smith down in Grant City, one day they just walked in and said, your job's gone. And then I went to Houston for work, and NL Atlas Bradford, same thing. I learned the importance of a good job. I learned the importance that the only thing you really can count on is your own abilities and skills. And so I went back to night school, got my degree. I also went to Control Data Institute and retrained for computer programming, and that's what I do now. I also have an antique store, my antique store in Olden. You might have been there sometime. I kind of specialize in glassware. I'm an auctioneer. I'm a certified appraiser. And in both of those things, I do lots for the community. I could list off, it's a huge list. In fact, coming up, I have Appraisal Day newspapers and education. I have one coming up for Coalition for End-of-Life Care. I think I may be doing the Marquette High School auction. I try to give back to the community. I try to plan for the future, to have vision. And those qualities I apply to my decisions as a trustee. I do my very best. Sometimes those decisions are hard. You can't make everybody happy, and I've had times where I haven't, and I probably made a few mistakes. But I guarantee that I will do my best to be the best trustee. I would ask for your support, and I will promise that I'll do a very good job if you put me back in office. Thank you.
Our second candidate, trustee, is Sarah Johns. I believe this is her first run at public office.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for coming. It really means a lot to look out and see residents coming to a public forum such as this, because it means that you really care about where you live. My name is Sarah Johns. I'm 38 years old. I've lived in Godfrey probably most of my whole life, close to 30 years or more. I married Marty Johns almost 15 years ago. We have 3 children, ages 13, 11, and 9. I'm a stay-home mom. I was a teacher at Southwestern High School and middle school until our first child was born, and Marty and I decided, with God's blessing, I was able to stay home and take care of my children. I decided to get involved in this because Godfrey's my home. My parents live here. Most of my in-laws live here. I care about where I live, and I think it's time that I need to give something back. And the only way I can do that is by running for office. My main goal as a trustee would be to serve the people. I'm not going to work for Village Hall. I'm going to work for you if you elect me. There's been a lot of times where I've had dealings with elected officials or certain departments, and I felt a little bit lost, a little bit left out, like maybe they weren't listening to me 100%. And I want you to know that when you call me and you have a problem or a question, if I don't know the answer or I can't solve your problem, I will take it to whoever I think can handle it or solve it. But I will have an answer for you one way or the other in a timely manner. I'm not going to make you leave messages and wait a week and, I'll get back to you. I'm going to do the best I can to represent you who hopefully vote me into office April 7th. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming tonight.
Our third candidate for trustee is Mojo. I think most of you are familiar with him.
I'd like to thank all of you for coming tonight. I'd like to thank Don Miller for being the MC up there, even though who's the guy before you? Okay, anyway, they do a good job, whatever they do. Anyway, my name is Mo Julin. My wife Jo and I have been married for 49 years. Our son Jeff is married to Amy. They have 3 children, Abby, Maggie, and Katie, and they live in Chatham. Our daughter Jeff is married to Richard Studs, live in Godfrey, and have a son, Sam. I worked for Pepsi-Cola for 44 years and retired in 2003. I now work part-time for McConaughey's Flower Shop. I've been a township trustee for 36 years and a village trustee since incorporation. I served under Mayor Lars Hoffman as chairman of the Capital Task Force. He appointed me to look into all the sewer and drainage problems, and we had a book about this thick and we got done with it, and we're still working on the present day. Since that time, I was a member of the Long Range Planning Committee and Sewer Board. I now serve on the Park Committee and Public Safety Committee. I am chairman of the Finance Committee. The future of Godfrey is great, and we need experienced and dedicated leaders to work for the future. I feel I have both. I'm dedicated and I'm experienced. I ask for your support and vote come election day. Thank you very much.
Our fourth candidate for trustee is Michael G. Stump. Mike?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming out this evening. My name is Mike Stump, and I've lived in Godfrey for 31 years. My handouts are just on one side. The lady asked me why. When you work construction and you work in St. Louis, you leave Godfrey at 5 o'clock in the morning and you get home at 5:30 at night. That doesn't leave a great deal of excitement to be putting on a piece of paper. My handout was short and concise and to the point. I lived in Godfrey for 31 years. Most of those were spent on Ingham Lane. Most of you know is on the north side of town. I had hoped to stay there, but the state decided to build a highway. The center line of the highway went through our picture window. I thought it might be a little disturbing if we tried to stay. So consequently, we moved to Seminary and Siler in West Woodfield. My wife, Pam, has been a school teacher in the Alton District for 16 years. She was a course director and had many of you folks as children. My daughter, Madeline, is about to receive her PhD from St. Louis University. And my son, Mitchell, who, by the way, is living with us and keeping his mother in line, is a third-year dental student at SIUE. I have been to several town board meetings, and it was intriguing. And after 31 years of being a resident, I felt maybe that it was time for me to open my big mouth and see what I could do for the village of Godfrey. For 30 years, I worked for Fred Weber Incorporated, a construction company that you people all know, who did 367. Consequently, I know a little bit about construction, not a whole lot. I worked residential construction for 4 years prior to that. I would be more than willing to serve this community with a great deal of respect, responsibility, and integrity. And I can guarantee you that if elected, that I would be more than willing to give each and every resident of Godfrey my telephone number. You will get personal service from me. I also would like to see Village Hall to the point where we had to add on. Going to a town board meeting with 10 or 15 people, who are usually the same people, can get to be old hat. People, this is your community. Come to the town board meetings and express your opinions. Show us what you want. So what if it takes an hour and a half or 2 hours? We'll get over that. I want to thank all of you for allowing me to be here this evening. Please support me in the election. And thank you very, very much.
If you have any questions for the candidates for trustees, There's a sign-up sheet in back, and I'll take the questions. Later we'll read them from the podium. Make sure you identify who the question is for, and make sure it's legible. Since the Village of Godfrey Incorporated, only 2 people have been ever elected mayor, Lawrence Hoffman and Mike Campion, and only 1 person's ever been reelected. Our next speaker is unique then, Mike Campion.
Good evening. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it. I'd also like to thank the North Alton Godfrey Business Council, the East End Improvement Association, WBGZ, and the Alton Telegraph, and RiverBender.com.
Thank you.
I didn't realize you were sponsored until this evening. Everybody else was kind of given a little bit biography. I think most of you have known me for a long time, but my wife Lori's sitting up here in the front row. We'll be celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary this summer. We have 3 children, John, 23, Brian, 21, and Patrick, 17. John's a full-time employee in Godfrey at Rotary Ram, which is a machine shop out on Real Lane. Brian is a junior at the University of Illinois, majoring in engineering, and Patrick is a junior at Alton High School. In my 12 years as mayor, I've been fiscally conservative. I have kept our property taxes among the lowest of any municipality in the state of Illinois. I've actually lowered our rate each and every year for the 12 consecutive years that I've been mayor. And I know everybody's taxes keep going up. There are other governmental entities that increase property taxes, increase the property tax burden upon homeowners. But under this administration, the tax rate imposed by the Village of Godfrey has actually decreased every year. We've continued to maintain an outstanding working relationship with the Sheriff's Office of Madison County, providing our citizens with police protection. We also have consistently maintained a good working relationship with the Godfrey Fire Protection District. And I've brought this up several times. I'm absolutely opposed to the Village of Godfrey entering into any efforts to establish its own village fire department. I think one of the things that's unique about a fire protection district is it's all composed of fine professionals like our Chief John Souders, but they also have many dedicated volunteers working along with them. And they do an excellent job of providing the necessary fire protection for the benefits of our citizens. When I first took office as mayor in 1997, the village had approximately 5 acres of parkland. It was composed of the small park behind Village Hall, which most of you are familiar with, and the 4-acre park down at Clifton Terrace. Today we have 240 acres of beautiful parkland. And I never miss the opportunity to thank the lady who made a lot of that possible, Mrs. Norma Glazebrook, sitting up here in the front row. We acquired most all of the additional land for parks through grants and other donations at no cost to the village. I am so proud of the Robert E. Glazebrook Community Park. In the 12 years I've served as mayor, I have seen 865 new homes built. With the support of the majority of the village board, I have fought to ensure that those new residential developments comply with the goals established by our Planning and Zoning Commission, and to ensure that our village will continue to be a high-quality, primarily residential community. We have some very good developers in our community, and I believe our development, zoning, and building officials have worked well with them. Also, in the past 12 years, we've worked with the dedicated members of the Godfrey Township Utility Board to assure their responsibilities and to utilize resources available to the village to expand and improve our sewer system. Today, we are serving more homes than ever before, and we are in the process of greatly expanding that service to include the residents on the west side of the village who have never had sewer service, including those as far out as Piso Hills. All of these projects and improvements have been done through grants, low-interest loans, user fees, and other means so as to avoid any burden upon the property taxpayers of the village of Godfrey. I've also seen an increase in commercial development. Our economic development efforts were recently successful in landing a new manufacturing enterprise, that being International Mulch, that purchased the old Owens, Illinois machine shop facility on Toley Lane. The creation of new jobs is very difficult in these times, but I am proud of our record in that area. I've known for years that we will see more development come to Godfrey once 255 is completed. And I'm very happy to report that that project is back on track with the state of Illinois. With the construction of the Crosstown Road, our improved sewers, and our enhanced zonings and our updated comprehensive plan, we are ready for the growth that 255 will spur. I look forward to the next four years. Of course, that will be up to the voters to decide our upcoming election, April 7th. I believe Godfrey is a great place to live and work. I've lived here my entire 56 years, born out off of Pearl Street in Godfrey. I believe that we have an even brighter future, and it's hard to overstate the economic improvements that will come once Illinois 255 is completed. I'd like to thank you all for showing up here this evening, and I'd like to ask for your support on April the 7th. Thank you.
Our final candidate tonight is a candidate for mayor in one of the best-known businesses in town, Mike McCormick.
Is this the right mic? They told us one of the mics up here was toned for a female voice, so I hope I got the right mic here. Thank you. I will echo the thanks to Don to my left here, WBGZ, RiverBender.com, The Telegraph, KC's for having us here today. Thank you very much for that. Once again, good evening. My name is Mike McCormick. I live on Kaskaskia Trail with my lovely wife, Linda, who is my biggest supporter. We have a daughter, Jennifer, who's sitting out there. Her husband, JD, right next to her. And two grandkids, Lexi and Brianna. Lexi's at the middle school. I still want to say junior high. And Brianna's at North Elementary. I was born in East St. Louis. My parents moved to Belleville when I was 12, where I went to high school and worked at the Tri-City grocery store there. Upon graduation, I attended Belleville Area College, while managing one of the first McDonald's hamburger stands in the Metro East. I then started working in Owens, Illinois. That's what brought me to the area. I served an apprenticeship there and became a journeyman union mold maker. When OI began to downsize, I went to work for McDonnell Douglas in mock-up and tooling, working on top secret projects with the highest possible security clearance. While continuing my education, I was promoted to a procurement position, still with top security clearance. There I learned the importance of the bidding policy. At this point in my life, I was allowed to work flex time so I could coach tennis at Marquette Catholic High School, which management felt was good community involvement. I did it because I enjoyed tennis, and I wanted to work with the area youth. Unfortunately, this is not the present administration's view on community involvement, and that is something that I would like to change. Next in my life came emos. I put together a business plan, pledged all my finances, all my mother's finances, hocked everything I had, borrowed money, thank you, John Keller, and opened Elo's Pizza. Worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Along the way, I had time to serve as the Alton Godfrey Rotary President, Lewis and Clark Foundation president. I served on the Oasis board and many, many other community and church organizations. Always taking a proactive involvement in my community. When I ran for Godfrey Trustee, I received the highest vote count, which brings us to why am I running for mayor? First, from the encouragement of a wide spectrum of good Godfrey people that care about our community and respect my integrity. Now, let me read you a quote from Godfrey's comprehensive plan from the spring of 2008 on page 42. In the past, communication between the residents and the village hall is not always timely or adequate. I'll read that again. In the past, communications between the residents and village hall is not always timely or adequate. That has to be fixed and will be under my administration. How? By having a mayor in the office every day with normal business hours. It didn't take me 6 months as a trustee to realize most of the residents' needs were not being met. In fact, just 4 months ago, I feel stood up at our meeting and asked if this was the time to speak to the board on a non-agenda item. They said no, not yet, and they adjourned the meeting. This will not happen under my administration. The residents should have been allowed to speak and shown some respect. Another important issue to me with the village is that we share the same attorney with the city of Alton, which I find to be a gross conflict of interest, as does my supporters in this campaign. In fact, the Board of Trustees voted twice in the past 6 years not to retain the attorney, but he's still there. He does not have an office or live in Godfrey. There are many well-qualified attorneys in Godfrey, and when I'm elected, I will hire one of them. Yes, we are supposedly getting a Walmart, thanks to negotiations with Mr. Yale. The project is supposedly held up on an EPA permit. As mayor, I would look into this by now. I've already talked to Dan Beiser about it, but I would have went to Springfield, talked to legislators, and try to get the EPA to get this thing resolved. Yes, 255 is coming, but neither my opponent nor myself can take credit for that. We need a full-time mayor for the residents of Godfrey who will work with all the trustees and all the elected officials. As a trustee, I'm tired of getting information about Godfrey from WBGZ and the Telegraph. Lastly, let me dispel some rumors I've heard while going door to door in this campaign. No, I'm not firing the employees of our street department. Which brings to mind, why are we not negotiating their contract now? We should be negotiating it because we're in the last month of the contract. No, I'm not getting rid of EMC and their employees. I believe the police contract is a good thing for Godfrey. However, once again, it got negotiated in the final hours. And lastly, I am healthy, ready to serve as mayor, and that is to serve, not govern. I'm the right choice. Thank you.
Do we have the questions ready? Would the candidates for Mayoral, would candidates for mayor please come forward?
Is it on? Does that make me sound like a woman? As long as it don't, I'm fine.
The first question for all candidates is, what do you see as the 3 top issues for Godfrey, and what are your plans for handling them? There's a 2-minute run.
I think the number one issue that's first and foremost on everyone's mind is property taxes. And that's been one of our top priorities for the last 12 years. I think we have a proven record on property taxes. And I would expect to continue to hold that line on property taxes. The second issue, and it's probably pretty close to being the first issue, but the most priority right now, and that's the creation of jobs. And it's very difficult to do it this time, but we have spent a lot of time in the last 4 years and hired our first economic development planner, and Mr. Matt Oselmeyer, which, Matt, you want to stand up so folks know who you are? He's been very instrumental in making some annexations, bringing some businesses into Godfrey that help boost our sales tax base. Also is very instrumental in landing International Mulch to buy the former Owens, Illinois property, which I thought might stay vacant for a number of years. But we'll continue along the lines of trying to bring businesses to Godfrey, such as the Walmart. I think we have 2 independent living facilities coming, one under construction and one that just recently opened. So hopefully we can help create jobs. The third thing would be to continue to push our state government, IDOT in particular, to finish 255 to Godfrey and to help Mr. Miller achieve funding for Corridor 67, which is the north-south connector on the west side of the state that will connect Godfrey, actually St. Louis, to the Quad Cities, which has been in the process for about 40 years. So those would be my priorities over the next 4 years. Thank you.
Of course, taxes is the #1 priority because my tax bill keeps getting bigger year after year. The 4 years I've been a trustee, all 4 years, I voted against the tax levy because I felt the tax levy should have been reduced. In fact, 3 years ago, as far as the taxes were concerned, we put $1 million in the bank, and at that time, Mike Walters was a trustee with me. We brought forward, we tried to get a tax rebate, because if we're putting $1 million in the bank, that's all our money. It got lost in the shuffle, never got brought to the table for a vote, but we attempted to do that. I have a plan, and I do intend on reducing that levy when I get elected mayor. And we all know that the Godfrey part of your tax bill is not the biggest line item on there. But still, if you could reduce it, if we got $11 million in the bank, why do we need to keep taxing you people? Number 2 to me is 255. That will create jobs, that will create businesses, that will just jump our economy just unbelievably. 255 is key to Godfrey survival. Well, Godfrey's going to survive no matter what, but it's a key to reducing your taxes. And number 3, infrastructure, sewers. I've lived in 3 different houses in my time in Godfrey. Not one of them had a sewer. We need sewers. Thank you.
The next question is, what is your feelings on the current fire police protection plan and what are its alternatives?
I think Madison County does a wonderful job for us. I think it's a good deal for us, and it's also a good deal for them. I think we're very fortunate in Godfrey that we don't have a lot of crime. But our deputies are well-trained. You know, when I go on vacation, I feel very comfortable. I call out and say, I'm going to be gone, watch my house. I get back, I get a report from them. We check your house this hour, that hour. I think it's great. The only problem, you know, I was cast as a problem causer about the police contract, but we were in the waning moments of the police contract, and I kept harping at meetings. Why are we not negotiating? Why are we not negotiating? Well, I was afraid we were going to lose it. And no, I think Madison County does a wonderful job. I'm very proud that Bob Hertz lives in Godfrey. And the fire district, I have to echo the mayor on that. I think they're doing a wonderful job, and they should be separate from the village. They have their own board, they're their own taxing body, and I feel very secure with the service they supply to the village. Thank you.
I'll just reiterate, the Sheriff's Department, we have a contract with the Sheriff's Department. I was involved with the first negotiations under former Mayor Lars Hoffman, And we've continued that for 16 years, and I don't believe we'll have a problem negotiating. The county has been good to work with. It works for them, it works for us. It also helps us avoid a lot of unnecessary liability that would go with having our own police department. We have the entire sheriff's department at our disposal should someone of their officers need assistance, along with all of their detective force, their jail. We're not responsible, don't have any liability in terms of pension, so it works out wonderful. We have a great sheriff. The former sheriff we worked with before was wonderful. As long as we have a good sheriff, it's the best situation going for Godfrey. Thank you.
The next question is, there has been substantial growth in neighboring communities. Specifically, what will your administration do to foster and encourage both commercial and residential investment in Godfrey?
Well, I think if you're talking about, it was in terms of neighboring communities, I think it's in reference to Illinois 255, such as Wood River and Bethalto, where the 255 has already been made available to those areas. And I think 255, once it becomes available here, will spur a lot of our development. But recently, a year ago, there was a public hearing held in this building, I believe it was in May of 2008, on the Walmart. And since that time, they held a public hearing, and the EPA has been dealing with the comments from that public hearing for 1 year. And no, I didn't sit on my duff and do nothing. We have had Senator Hayne, Representative Beiser, Representative Watson to our north, and Senator DeMusi all working on our behalf. I was also contacted by the engineering firm that's working for Walmart to make a trip to Springfield to testify before the EPA, which I did. I also just received a call 2 days ago from the engineer, and they're telling him that virtually they're still on the same track that they were when we were up there for the meeting, and that is they hope to have a permit issued to them by the 1st of May of 2009. I think once the Walmart comes, there will be a number of other entities, developments looking to purchase land around 255. I don't think we have to get out there and try to sell ourselves. I think people, as long as there's rooftops being built in a community, I think those communities are looking for places to go. They have much more professional people that do the demographics of the area, and once they figure out that we're over here, once Walmart's here, there'll be hundreds of others wanting to come as well. Thank you.
Yes. What will your administration do to foster and encourage both commercial and residential investment in Godfrey?
Well, I have to say, number one, I'll be a mayor that'll be in the office every day, available for potential businesses to want to locate in Godfrey. With my business background, I think I could sit down at a table with anybody interested in starting a business in our community and help them. I've started two businesses in my life, and they've been successful. And I think I have the background to talk that with people. I have to agree with the mayor. 255 is key to our area. 255 will bring the same growth and development you see in Wood River. When I first moved to this area over 40 years ago, Wood River was, the place where the refineries were. But now that is one of the most booming communities in our area. Their property values before the economic turndown, I've seen studies on this, are going up. And the property taxes are going down because they have businesses. We don't have businesses now. We got the mulch, international mulch coming to town. And that we got to thank the Growth Association for that. They brought them to our community. We've lost Park and Shop. We're waiting on Walmart to care. When when Walmart gets here and finally does get here, they keep pushing it back, and hopefully the EPA will finally buy off on it. And at that point in time, with the Walmart and 255 and that corridor up by Village Hall, it's going to be happening. And that's going to save you money in your wallet because that's going to reduce your taxes. Thank you.
The next question is, what is your position on the Crosstown Road?
My position on the Crosstown Road is I think it would be an addition to the community once 255's here and the 67 corridor. But my position on the Crosstown Road is I don't think it'll ever happen in my lifetime because of the early negotiations. We signed a letter of intent to buy what I consider just farmland, great farmland, for an exuberant price. $30,000 an acre for farmland is, as far as I'm concerned, is over the top. In fact, there's something in my gut that tells me that might have slowed down Interstate 255 because they're negotiating with people out there who are now expecting $30,000 an acre for their property. And I've talked to people that own land past Airport Road and the sections over there. Do you think they're going to take any less than $30,000 an acre? Figure it out. How much is it going to cost to take that road from Godfrey Road all the way to Clifton Terrace at $30,000 an acre? It's not going to happen in my lifetime. I wish it would. A good friend of mine got that project started a few years back. He's a judge now. His name's Steve Stobbs. He's the one that contacted the federal government, John Shipkus. I can remember standing out there at Melville Dairy, 10 degrees out there, and when the federal money came through. And the project's no farther along than it was then.
Michael, what's your position on Crosstown Road?
Well, the Crosstown Road has been in the process of planning for more than a decade. The concept actually was approved and started under Mayor Lars Hoffman. It was the brainchild of Charlie Shepard, our village engineer at the time. He worked for years to try to come up with the best route for the Crosstown Road, causing the least amount of problems to the environment and to our current residents. The engineering has been largely completed. I support the Crosstown Road project. I went to Washington, D.C. along with Mr. Stobbs to acquire the money from Congressman Shimkus and Congressman Costello. I fought hard to obtain these grants. And with the coming of 255, the Crosstown Road will be more necessary than ever. We have to plan for our future. While some could try to argue that the exact location picked by the engineers could be improved, I support the Crosstown Road as it was designed by Charles Shepard. In terms of the amount of money that's being paid, he was right. We do have tentative agreements. And the first person we negotiated with, I saw come into this building this evening, and that was the Wagner family. And the Wagner family had asked for a higher price per acre and then settled on the $30,000 that my opponent's referring to. And he voted, along with the rest of the board, unanimously to approve that agreement. Then we went down the road, getting back closer to the village hall, and negotiated with the Kohler family, and I don't know if any of them are here, as well as the Adams family, and I didn't notice whether any of them were here. But all in all, we need 23.83 acres. And we have written agreements in the village hall, in Pamela Whistler's office, for $350,100. And if you'll do the math, it's $14,692 per acre. And I'll bet there's not many developers that have bought ground recently in Godfrey to build a subdivision on for that amount of money. Thank you.
Next question. Do you believe the village should enter into a franchise agreement with one waste hauler to serve all of the restaurant, all of the residents? You're right.
I'm a firm believer in free enterprise. I don't know how many trash haulers we have hauling in Godfrey, but I would safe to say that not everyone in this room has the same trash hauler. I haven't received any complaints on the trash haulers. They do have to meet the Madison County requirement for recycled solid waste, and I don't think we could save a dime, and if it was going to cost us more tax money on our property tax bill, there's no way I'd be in favor of it. So I support the free enterprise system.
Well, I'd have to say ditto. I mean, I'm a businessman, and I think we have 4 trash haulers in the village, and you have a choice there. You have a choice, and that I think hopefully would make the trash haulers that we have perform better and give you better service because you do have that choice. If you had one trash hauler, I don't know if you get that service. It's something that has to be done, and once again, I'm against too much government.
The next question. Do you believe the Village of Godfrey mayor should be a full-time position with full-time pay and benefits?
Currently, I don't think that the Village of Godfrey should be paying full-time mayor, full-time pay. But I do believe we need a mayor in the office every day. And if I'm elected mayor, I will be willing to work full-time hours as a mayor in the office under the standards that's been set forth under the past administration. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it to serve my community. I've already worked most of my life. I'm a retired individual. I still got a lot of left in me, and I'd like to serve the people of Godfrey.
Mike, do you believe the Village of Godfrey mayor should be a full-time paid position?
I've been serving as the mayor for the past 12 years on a part-time basis. I've tried to keep the size of our government small, and I've tried to appoint good people and responsible department heads. I allow them to manage their own departments, carrying forward the general policies set forth by the village board. I don't believe the Village of Godfrey has gotten to the point where we need a full-time mayor, but it seems as though in every election, someone promises to be a full-time mayor and doesn't want to set the salary to be full-time. So how many of you could raise a family and be mayor on a part-time salary? I just don't think that it's possible, but I think that as a part-time mayor, we've done a pretty doggone good job for the last 12 years of being responsible for your tax money. Thank you.
The next question. What are you planning to do to bring good paying jobs to Godfrey?
That's always a good question. I don't know where the good paying jobs are. Hopefully we will bring some professional buildings to Godfrey. The day of the Olins and the Laclede Steel and the Alton Box Board are long gone. The union jobs that they provided for many of our families to raise us back in those days. It's extremely difficult in this time to bring new jobs to a community. I think by and large, Godfrey will remain a bedroom community, a high-quality residential community. But I think a lot of our growth will have to occur in service-type products, big box stores, those sorts of things. And unfortunately, they're not the big, high-paying jobs. So hopefully we can get some high-tech industry in here, light industry, that will help spur that growth on that side of it. Thank you.
Once again, we're going back to 255. It's such a key. If you drive through the pontoon beach area down here, you see all those trucking outfits. We're at a hub here in Godfrey with the highways once 255 gets here. that I think, people, when we were dealing with the Walmart issue, people came up to me all the time, well, why can't you get a Sam's, or why can't you get a Costco? Well, the Sam's and the Costco's are going to want to have to come here. Right now, north of Village Hall, we don't have the infrastructure. We need to get the infrastructure there. You build it, and I believe they would come. That is our number one priority. Get the infrastructure up to the land up there by 255, where 255 is coming through. That is so key. We got rail lines. We're close to the river. And once we get to 255 highway here, we should be a hub for small industry, any kind of industry. Make ourselves available to the people that want to locate such businesses. But I have to agree with the mayor. The economic situation right now, there's not a lot of people that are starting new businesses. But 250, once again, I just got to go back to 255. That's our whole key. That's our whole key here.
The next question. What is your opinion of the Glazebrook Park expansion project?
My opinion of Glazebrook Park expansion is Melissa Park is taking our ball diamonds away from us. We need ball diamonds. Unfortunately, because I guess of the lay of the land, we're limited to the size of the ball diamonds. I personally thought when it was brought to the board that Melissa Park was going to take the ball diamonds that we were using away from us. At that point in time, I believe both Trustee Walters, again, I got to mention his name, and I said, well, why don't we just connect it to the existing park and grow the park the other direction? And where you already got the infrastructure in place, you got restrooms, you got everything there. Let's just grow. Well, they explained that the lay of the land wasn't good. So the next thing I know, they're putting it right in the back door of the people of Belmont Village. The people of Belmont Village, they realize that we need ball diamonds. People of Belmont Village were given a bad rap, saying that they did not want the ball diamonds. People of Belmont Village aren't against the ball diamonds, and I have to agree with them. If we have 80 acres sitting there, why did we have to put them right up against their property lines? Well, we eventually moved them a little bit, not that much. In moving them that little bit, we're building non-regulation sized diamonds. We only have one regulation sized diamonds. To me, that's doing it halfway. We got 80 acres there. I think we should take time to look at another plan and figure out a way to put regulation ball diamonds in, regulation soccer fields in. The original Glazebrook Park, their soccer fields, I just found out with the last 6 months, they're not even regulation size. I mean, if you're going to do it right, because it's for the youth of our area.
And Mike, what is your opinion of the Glazebrook Park expansion project?
Well, first of all, Glazebrook Community Park has been a wonderful example of what can happen when the village, with the support of residents. The original park, which I mentioned earlier, came to the village thanks to the generous donation of the Glazebrook family. The development of that park has been made possible by the procurement of grants that we have successfully achieved over the years. The use of the park, including proposed activity and design, has been driven by residents serving as volunteers on various committees over the years. Our park committee, working in consultation with a professional park designer, has spent countless hours working to develop a plan for the proposed expansion of Glazebrook Park. And I think they've come up with an excellent plan that will serve the needs of our residents for years to come, particularly our children. and I support the plan recommended by the Park Committee and unanimously approved by the Village Board. Thank you.
Next, the last question. What is your opinion of the Super Walmart coming to Godfrey?
Well, when the developer came to town, I believe it was retail development, I believe, retail realty, and they told us that they had a potential client, and that being Walmart. My biggest concern was, what are they going to ask Godfrey to provide for them? Because that's all you ever see and hear about Walmart, is they're not coming to your town unless you'll give them free sewer hookups, tax breaks on their sales tax, initiatives for their employees, whatever they could get, they wanted. And unbeknownst to me and probably most other mayors in the last 10 or 15 years, we were shocked they didn't ask us for anything. They wanted to be here. So being someone that supports free enterprise, I couldn't say no to Walmart as long as they play by the rules, and I'm glad to see that they're coming, and I know that they will be bringing other businesses with them. Thank you.
I was originally against Walmart when it was first brought to the table, until it was shown to me that if the Walmart in Godfrey did the same amount of business that the Walmart in Wood River, that would put $1 million in sales tax into the Village of Godfrey's coffers. That's $1 million that we could take away from the tax bill we're sending you. That's the way I look at it. As with any business we can get to locate into our community. I personally still have concern. They keep pushing off putting that shovel in the ground, Before this last delay, they were supposed to be breaking ground this month. Well, now it's been pushed off again. And I wish I had a true answer why it was being pushed off other than the EPA permit. Walmart will be good for Godfrey because of the tax burden it'll relieve, because of the other businesses that they usually attract. Look at Wood River. But like I said, originally I was a little bit against it because of what they say a Walmart does to one's community. But now that the Wood River store has been open, and I know Sam Stam over there is going to disagree with me, but things are good in Wood River. They've had a lot of growth, and I think that was due to that Walmart. And I don't think it put a lot of mom and pops out of business. It's good for the economy. Thank you.
Our final question in the evening for both mayoral candidates. Please give me your single best reason I should vote for you for mayor.
I will be in the office every day. I want to serve the people of Godfrey. I will deal with just like I ran my pizza place. Customer service. Customer service. Customer service. I mean, I read that quote from our comprehensive plan. I read the quote from a comprehensive plan earlier about the service that the village gives. That was signed off by everybody in the village. That is what I want to change. I want to be there for the residents of Godfrey. With part-time pay, full-time mayor.
Buddy, please give us your single best reason that we should vote for you for mayor.
I think I have a proven record for the past 12 years, and it all can be substantiated. to the minutes of the record kept by our very able clerk, Pamela Whistler. And I would appreciate all of your support in the April 7th election. Thank you.
Question that wasn't addressed, and
You may have.
okay, I'd like to ask both parties, what is the point of having all this park space, this open space, these acres and that? And also, you mentioned the ballparks and everything. When people cannot breathe the air in Godfrey when they go out on Saturdays, because everybody's burning their trash. And could you please address this problem, especially in view of the fact that St. Louis area has been named the asthma capital of the United States?
I think the young lady is,
I'd like to know why we have this expense and all the things that we do to get more park space and open space in Godfrey. And also, sir, you mentioned that you wanted more ballparks for our children to play outside. When you go out on Saturdays, you can't breathe the air in Godfrey. There's people burning everywhere, just like we're in the Middle Ages, but we don't know any better. And especially in view of the fact that St. Louis and environs were deemed to be the capital of asthma disease in the United States.
Mr. Chairman, let the lady follow the rules like everybody else.
I'll leave it up to the candidates if they want to take that on.
When I came in, I had to ask a question when I first got here and write it down, and they said no, I could ask afterwards after I heard both of you speak. And I think she just did that. So the table back there advised us we could ask questions now.
You want to, whose turn is it? My turn. It's your turn.
And I don't know, there's been Telegraph news articles on this in the past, and I see we have our reporter setting out here. The Village of Godfrey has had a complaint filed with the U.S. Department of Interior, and it is under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So we have established a committee to review the ordinances or the laws that are currently on the books of the Village of Godfrey. And I believe, I believe those are burning of yard waste only on Wednesday and Saturday, and I believe the hours are from sun up till sundown. But regardless of that, the complaint complaint as we got it from the U.S. Department of Interior said that we needed to review those policies or review those laws, set up a committee and perhaps make some changes to that if we deem necessary. The committee went through that process. They wrote a written response to the U.S. Department of Interior. The U.S. Department of Interior has responded to that and has virtually said, you haven't gone far enough. So the Committee on Burning was just reactivated at our last village board meeting. I don't know whether the chairman intends to keep the same group of people together they had in the past. I don't recall who was on the committee, but it was Trustee Williams who was the chairman. And after conversations with the U.S. Department of Interior, it appears as though there will have to be some modifications made. I am sensitive to the people who have breathing problems. I am sensitive to the law in the book of the Americans with Disabilities Act. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that in the spring and the fall we have a tremendous amount of yard waste that needs to be dealt with, and I do not want to put extra burden on the property taxpayers of the Village of Godfrey to come up with some way to deal with that. So hopefully there will be a revision to the law forthcoming that will pass muster with the U.S. Department of Interior. Thank you.
The village of Godfrey's divided on this issue. That was an issue that was addressed in our comprehensive plan. I've had numerous conversations with Ms. King. She knows my position or my posture on this. Once again, I'm against too much government. Anything to this majority, as a mayor, a person shouldn't make that decision. As a 6-man board of trustees, they shouldn't make that decision. That should be a referendum that the whole village votes on. And that, to me, is how our government was started, and that's what our government's about. The majority rules. You know, it may sound like an easy way of not answering that question, but that's what I sincerely believe. It should be up to the people, and it should be a referendum. And there was talk about it even being a referendum on this upcoming election, but it didn't happen. And Godfrey's in an unusual situation with the second biggest township or village in the state. There's so many miles of agricultural area, and you got to look at those two separate ways. But then you got agricultural properties that butt up right against residential. So that has to be looked at in a different way too. All these things should be thought out and given to the voters and let them decide.
I have 2 announcements to make. The first one is the meeting is adjourned. The second one is the bar is open.